Well, hello, and welcome to this episode of Learn Everyday English, your roadway to English proficiency. Hey, glad to have you with me again today. We're back in the other studio of my house, which just means the other room of my house. And it's a scorcher today here in Texas. Man, the temperature is probably close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. With a lot of humidity and a lot of mosquitoes. So it seems like any time of the day that you go outside, you're just getting eaten alive. We say eaten alive. The mosquitoes just swarm around you. Say swarm around you. And if you have any skin exposed, they'll find it. I like to wear long pants and even long sleeve shirts, but they still manage to bite me on my hands and on my head and on my neck. So they're a real pain, we say, in the summertime here. But enough of that complaining. If you like these videos that you're seeing, I'm getting a lot of good responses from people. They like the videos and how they're set up and the information in them. So if you like them, you need to do 3 things. Hit the like button, subscribe, and tell your friends so they can benefit from these videos too, just like you. And that does rhyme. Well, today I'm going to be talking about a topic that you might find interesting because it has to do with language learning. And it's going to be my experience of language learning. And the topic is, how has learning a foreign language, in my case it's Spanish, how has it had an impact on me? Or how can learning a foreign language impact you or impact me? People have different reasons for learning a foreign language, and they vary. Like I said, my case was I'm older in life. Not an old fogey, as we say in English, old fogey, which means like an old person. Doesn't have a lot to do, kind of like with a bad attitude. No, but just an older person who was lucky enough to retire at a fairly early age. So I have time and I just want to devote it to doing things I love, which are 1, learning a foreign language, which is Spanish, 2, doing photography and other things. And to let you know, I started volunteering at my local library, or library, as some people say incorrectly here in the United States. So if you hear somebody say library, I'm going to the library. They really mean library, but they're pronouncing it wrong. But I started volunteering at the library as part of the English as a Second Language program, or ESL program. And I'm helping teach or tutor a young man from Mexico, or Mexico, as we say in with his English. So I'm finding that very enjoyable. So I got, I think, 7 or 8 items that I've jotted down. Which means I've written down. Maybe to jot down can mean to write briefly, very quickly, is to jot something down, and made some notes. And I'm going to kind of tell you my experience of language learning and what I see. So, number 1 for me is, how has language learning impacted my life? I can see that for myself, and I think people here, especially in the United States, we can see how blessed we are here in the U.S., but we can also see how spoiled we are, because I have to admit, people here in the United States are spoiled. That means we take a lot of things for granted. We expect to have certain things, available to us, and we really shouldn't have that attitude, because I don't think we should feel or think that way. we take, like I said, many things for granted. For example, most people here, although there's still a lot of people in the United States that struggle, we say struggle to make a living. People that live, we say paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to paycheck. They spend all of their money, they have to, just to live every month, and they don't know if they're going to make enough money the next month to cover all their bills, because it is expensive to live here in the United States. But most people, they have a place to live, they have food on the table, they have clothes where they live. They might have air, AC, we say, air conditioning, heating. Quite a few people have their own vehicle, a car or a truck. You live in cities that have public transportation, buses, cabs, Ubers, so that type of thing. So I think compared to a lot of other places around the world, people here in the United States live very well. I like to say they live like kings and queens in a way. And we kind of take that for granted, and we start to complain, thinking that our situation is so bad. But we need to stop and think and say, hey, wait a minute. I'm actually very lucky. Things could be much worse. And I'm saying that's not a knock on other countries. That means I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that's kind of just the way it is, So we take things for granted, and we live, we say, comfortable lives here, and we complain when we shouldn't. So we're blessed because we have all these things. We're spoiled because we always want more. So learning a foreign language, you learn more about other countries, about other people, how people live in other countries, and you realize, hey, things may not always be the same like they are here in the U.S. Maybe people have more struggles in other countries, or different types of struggles, maybe with freedom or being able to find or get enough to eat, maybe with being able to have clean drinking water. And I heard a story, there's in Africa, that there's some people that live in a village, and they're Christians, and they walk at least 1 or 2 hours to get to church on Sunday, and then they have to walk 1 or 2 hours to go back home. But they make the sacrifice. But if we had to do that here in the U.S., people wouldn't do it. If we can't get in our car and turn the AC on in the summer or the heat on in the winter and drive 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max, most people wouldn't do it. So we're very spoiled. So again, it opens our eyes. Learning a foreign language can open your eyes, and it has opened my eyes from, like I said, how blessed we are and how spoiled we are as well. The second thing that language learning has taught me and can teach other people is we see what we are missing, though, or lacking here in the U.S. To lack is to not have something, or to miss something. So it opens our eyes. So this is what we call the flip side of number one. Number two is the flip side, which is like the opposite, or the other explanation, or the other side of the coin, as we say in English. Because we can learn a lot from people in other countries. We can learn a lot from other cultures. And I think that's a good thing. And we need to learn a lot, because here in the United States, people get into what we call the rat race. And people just get up, go to work. I can make money because I have to pay my rent. I have to pay my car note. I have to buy enough clothing for my kids for their school. I have to pay for school. I have to pay for college. I got insurance. And there's a lot of expenses here in the U.S., so people just get focused. We say they get tunnel vision. They can only see in one direction straight ahead. And we don't stop and think that maybe, are there other things in life that are just as important? Or are there other things in life that are more important, maybe, than just focusing all your energy and all your effort into work? And I think the answer to that question is yes. For example, I've seen and I can relate it especially here living in Texas, the proximity to Mexico and the Hispanic culture. And we see how family is very important. And a lot of families here in the United States are missing that or lacking that. There is no family bond. There is no real closeness in family. A lot of times families don't visit, or people in the family, they don't visit each other very often. So I think that's one thing we can learn or take away from other cultures as we, I guess, study a foreign language and learn about other cultures. Again, too, in other cultures, I think people know their neighbors or have a closer relationship with their neighbors. And here, usually it's not that way. When you come home, you go straight inside your house. You don't really talk to anybody. I do know my neighbors 2 or 3 doors down, but we don't really like hang out. We don't really get together very often. But in a lot of neighborhoods here, people can live next door or right next door to somebody and not even know their name and what they do. And that's really pretty sad, we say. It's a sad testimony of life here in the United States. So I think that's another thing we can learn by studying a foreign language. The third thing is a slower paced lifestyle. Like I said, here it's go, go, go all the time. It's the rat race. And I think in other cultures, what I've seen in a lot of videos, and like especially Latin America, it's like a slower pace of life. People work hard. They work very hard, but they prioritize. Prioritize is give a priority or importance to things in life. So I think they realize that spending time with family, knowing neighbors, slowing down, taking time to maybe relax, take time on the weekend to go to the park, go on vacation, enjoy yourself, have some you time or some me time. And I think that's very important, and we lack that or miss that here in the United States. And the fourth thing and last thing in item number 2 has to do with finding contentment, happiness, and satisfaction. And I think this is very important. This is key. We need to be content, like at peace with where we are in life at this very moment. We have to be satisfied, and we have to find happiness where we are. That doesn't mean we want to get better or strive to improve ourselves or to get more things, but we have to realize we need to enjoy the moment that we find ourselves in right now. And I think that's a problem here in the United States. I'm just being honest. People are not satisfied. They always want more, more, more. I need a better job. I need more money. I need a better car. I need a bigger car. I need a bigger house, a fancier house. And we're just working to reach that goal. And what happens? We reach this goal and we move it again. Well, I need an even bigger house. I need an even bigger car. I need even more money because my lifestyle has increased. So it's a never-ending cycle, we say. It's a cycle that never ends. It's a vicious cycle. Vicious, which means like a mean kind of cycle. And we are our own worst enemy, we say in English. We bring our problems on ourselves for our wanting. So that's the second thing I think language learning can teach us. As we learn more about cultures and countries and talk to other people, we see what we are missing. Number 3, the third thing that I've learned, and I think people can learn by studying a foreign language, is maybe things aren't always what they seem to be. We realize things aren't always what they seem to be. For example, people say, hey, the U.S. is so advanced and they have a lot of technology and maybe things are better here. In certain respects they are, but I'll give you a specific example. It has to do with health care. Yeah, we do have, I think, good health care, maybe in some instances very good health care, but as we say in English, there is a price we pay for that. There's a price to be paid, not just monetarily. Monetarily means money-wise, but maybe with peace of mind, emotionally, because healthcare here is very expensive. If you don't have health insurance, a lot of times we say you're flat out of luck. That means there's nothing really you can do. A lot of places you go, hospitals, clinics, won't see you. You can't get help or assistance without insurance. That's the first thing they ask when you go to the doctor or the hospital or the emergency room or the clinic. Do you have insurance? Okay. What type of insurance do you have? What does it cover? And like I said, a lot of times if you don't have insurance or the right or proper type of insurance, you can't get service. So that's a very sad situation. And what I found here as well, doctors, because I have this, I think I've mentioned in a video, this health problem. It's a gastro problem with my stomach and colon. That these specialists, these doctors that are specialists in gastroenterology, to me, and this is my personal opinion, but I've also heard this from my brother who has the same problem and a friend, that gastroenterologists can seem to be kind of very cold, uncaring, or maybe not concerned, very concerned with your situation. They're quick to make a typical standard, we say, diagnosis, which is like what they think is wrong with you, and they want to give you pills and medicine. Here, take this pill. It will help your symptoms, but it won't cure the problem. And I found out that medical care and doctors here are a lot colder and not as maybe as friendly and accommodating. And I'll tell you a story. I've been seeing a doctor in Mexico for my health problems, and the amount of concern that she has shown and the amount of time that she has spent with me is much greater and much different than here in the U.S. She seems to be more genuinely concerned about my situation and doesn't have a problem in spending more time asking questions, trying to help me. Where here you see the doctor, we say you go in and out very quickly. The doctor's in 5 minutes, asks you a couple questions. He goes, okay, here, take this pill, or here, come back and see me in 1 month or 2 months. And that's it. So that's one thing. Things may not always always seem to be what they are in reality. And two, the third thing is the high cost of living. People think life is so great here in the United States, and I'm not knocking it and saying it is a great country and I wouldn't want to live in anywhere else. But with the benefits become a lot of other issues, because like I said, it's very expensive to live here. So you have to have a decent paying job to pay your bills, to pay the rent. If not, it's going to be tough. And there was a TV personality on the news. I think he has passed away. But every time he would say something on TV about helping people, he said, and it's hell to be poor. It's hell to be poor here in the U.S. And that means if you're poor, life can be very, very difficult. It's like living in hell. So for example, the high cost of living. I was listening to a podcast where people were talking about the cost of living like in Mexico and Colombia and such, and somebody said, well, could you live on 1,000 US dollars a month? Here, we say it's no way a person can live on $1,000 a month. But there was a lady I was in a meetup group with like 3 or 4 other people from different countries. And there was a lady from Colombia, and she said, yeah, for sure, no problem. You can live very well and comfortably and easily in Colombia for 1,000 US dollars a month. There was a gentleman there from Mexico, and he said, well, you could probably live on $1,000 a month, but it's better if you had $1,500 a month, or $1,500 would be better. Then you can really live well, go out to eat, that type of thing. But even here in the United States, it would be very difficult to live or survive on $1,500 a month. Because usually most apartments, the cheapest apartment is probably $700-800 a month. But on average, probably more than that, $1,000. And then you have to pay for your utilities, which is the air conditioning. That'll run you probably $200 a month, maybe $100 to $200 a month. If you have a car, then you have a car note. We say a car note. That means you have to pay a loan amount for that car, which is probably $200, $300, $400 a month. You have to have car insurance, which is at least $100 a month. You have to buy food and clothing and transportation and other things that happen. So to live on $1,500 a month here in the United States is, I'd say, next to impossible. So there's an expression that we have in English that people think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is greener on the other side of the fence. That means, hey, you see and you look at somebody else and their situation and you think, wow, they have it better than me. Well, they're really living the good life. But when you really check it out, you realize that maybe they're just like you. They're just like me. It's not better, or they don't have it any better than you do, but it's the perception that we have in our mind, or that we see, that the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. But that's why I said things aren't always what they seem to be. Things aren't always what they appear to be. Now, I'll give you an example. There's a YouTube channel that I like to watch, and it's a gentleman who came from Argentina, and the name of his channel is Viviendo el Sueño Mexicano, living the Mexican dream. And he has a very interesting story and very interesting channel. He came to the United States on a tourist visa and never left. And he lived in the United States for 19 years. Very smart guy. He had his own business repairing computers and electronics. He got married, had a child here. With his wife is from Mexico. They had property. They bought property in California. So he was doing well and successful. But he said he always had the fear in the back of his mind that maybe somebody was going to find out that he was illegal here and he would lose everything. And so he and his wife and child, they decided, well, let's move to Mexico. His wife had Mexican citizenship, and since then he's gotten Mexican citizenship, and his daughter, and he said he loves it in Mexico. It's great country to live, and I agree with him. And he said that, his idea was in the U.S. was, streets paved with gold, or you can go and make a lot of money. And maybe you can make a lot of money, but you're always working all the time, he said. It's not easy to make a lot of money. You don't have a lot of time. You got to work, the rat race. So he realized that maybe it wasn't worth it after all. So that's what things may not always be as they appear to be. And the last thing, that things aren't always what they seem to be, like it's so great here in the U.S., and you've probably heard about it and seen it in the news, is the level of crime and shootings that we have here in the United States. And it seems just to be getting worse and worse and worse, and I don't see an end to the problem. Too many people just have guns and they don't want to give them up. So school shootings, which don't seem to happen in a lot of other countries, just happen here on a regular occasion, and it's a very big problem that we have. So the fourth thing I think that I've learned, and people can learn by studying a foreign language, is you gain an increase level or sense of confidence in yourself and a sense of accomplishment. And that's always a good thing, because once you accomplish one thing, you say to yourself, well, I did that. I think I can do something else. I can do this other thing. Maybe I want to study another language. But learning language is hard, and it takes a lot of time, as you all know and as I know. I remember when I first started to study Spanish, I said to myself, "Oy, and I'm never gonna be able to understand Spanish speakers as they speak to me. It's just too difficult." I would listen to the radio and I don't understand anything. And how am I going to understand this? But slowly over time, it has gotten better and better. I'll give you like 3 short examples of progress that I've made and accomplishments. I mentioned to you that I'm seeing this doctor in Mexico, and she's in Mexico City. So we had a teleconference over the computer, but her office and somebody else set the first meeting up, and so I didn't have to deal with that, and they spoke to me, dealt with me in English. But then we had to do a second follow-up teleconference, and nobody was there to help with that. I guess my wife does speak Spanish, but I remember I said to myself, I needed to call and make the appointment with the doctor in Mexico. So I said, hey, I'm going to try it. What do I have to lose? I'm going to call the doctor's office in Mexico, talk to them in Spanish, and see if I can set up the appointment. And I called the office, talked with the lady, and I was able to do it with really no problem, or not very many issues. And I was surprised I was able to do it. And I felt, wow, really good about it. And I became more excited and enthusiastic about my Spanish. And I could see I had improved to the point where I was able to do that. Second thing that happened to me is my wife has a friend of hers who's from El Salvador, and she knows a couple from Honduras. So they live out in the country. We went to visit them, and they don't really speak any English. So I was like, this might be a little bit boring or a little bit uncomfortable for me, because my wife and her friend can speak with them. But I remember I met the gentleman from Honduras. He was very nice. And I was able to talk with him we were there for 3-4 hours, and he and I just had conversation for 3-4 hours in Spanish. And although I wasn't perfect, I made mistakes, but he was able to understand me. I was able to communicate to him. I was able to understand him. So I felt really good about it, that I could interact and socialize with Spanish-speaking people. And the third thing that happened recently, my wife knows a family from Mexico, and their son just graduated from high school. He got a full ride to college, which means he got a scholarship that will pay for all of his college. And they had a celebration party for him. And we had to sit at a table with a couple and their daughter. The couple were originally from San Luis Potosí in Mexico, and they didn't really hardly speak any English. So my wife and I and the couple, we were just talking kind of back and forth, chatting, as we say, in Spanish. And I was able to interact and be part of the conversation. So I felt very good about that. So learning a foreign language can increase your confidence and sense of accomplishment. The fifth thing that I've learned, and we can learn from studying a foreign language, is better understanding of other cultures. So it widens our global perspective on how we see things of other cultures and countries. And I think we get a greater tolerance and empathy and acceptance of others. Empathy means like we have better caring. We care more about other people, concern for other people. Tolerance, we're not as maybe angry, or we're more patient with other people. And for example, there's things that we can learn, and things that I learned I didn't know while studying a foreign language. I'll give you certain examples of things I've learned while studying Spanish. I used to talk to a gentleman in Colombia near Bogota, like once or twice a week. And he was telling me about the strata system in Colombia, where there are different stratus levels, we say in English, or levels that people are kind of placed in, like level 0 or 1 to 5 or 1 to 6. And it's kind of based on your income. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. How could I be like in my 50s and never heard of this type of thing? But so I did some more research and found it very fascinating. If you haven't heard about that, you might want to look into that and check that out. It's called the Estrata system in Colombia. A second thing that I really was very interested in, still am, I was really interested in learning about and finding out, hey, what is life like in Venezuela? I heard that it's very difficult, but in the news media here, you don't hear anything about it. You don't read anything about it. So I started watching YouTube channels from people that either live in Venezuela. They'd go around the streets talking, interviewing people and showing you how life really is in Venezuela. And I also, to last year, I was enrolled in a Spanish online language learning site called Baselane, and there you can set up and speak with Spanish teachers with unlimited, so you can speak as much as you want, as many times a day, with as many different Spanish teachers every day and every week with no limit. We say unlimited for just one flat price, which I think was maybe like $140 a month. I could speak as much as I wanted every day. So I was speaking to probably at least 2 or 3 people every day for about 5 days a week. And I did that for 4 months. And that really helped improve my speaking and conversation ability. But I would speak, and a lot of the teachers on Baselane were from Venezuela. So I was able to, I remember I met one gentleman specifically. He lived on one of the islands, I can't think of it, very popular tourist island in Venezuela. And he would tell me how it really is in Venezuela. It was very fascinating. And I really enjoyed talking with him and just learning about how life is. And the third thing, I have a Spanish teacher from Mexico City, and we talk about once or twice a week on italki. But he was very much into Mexican culture, Mayan, Aztec culture. And so he's been able to talk to me and tell me a lot about Mexican history and different things, the languages, Nahuatl languages, the indigenous people there in Mexico. So I've learned a lot. The last 2 things I'm going to touch on are the benefits of learning a language. And this can help anybody. One, I think it improves your memory. As we get older, we have what's called cognitive decline, or decline in our brain, in its ability to maybe remember things and to be as sharp, we say. And I think by studying a foreign language, you're working the brain, you're exercising the brain, keeping it sharp, and it stimulates the brain. So I think that's a real good reason to study a foreign language, and hopefully that will help to slow down or prevent maybe the progression of dementia and Alzheimer's, which are diseases that are that affect a lot of people all around the world today. Because I know my mom suffered with and battled dementia for 8 years, and we finally had to put her into a nursing home where somebody could care for her, because my brother and I were still working, so we didn't have the time to really be able to care for her, and she ended up passing away or dying in the nursing home. She forgot how to actually eat. She forgot how to swallow, and she eventually passed away. So dementia and Alzheimer's it's a terrible, terrible, horrible disease, and if we can do anything to prevent that, I guess so much the better, we say. And the last benefit of learning a foreign language is, and it's not really my situation since I'm retired, but I know a lot of people do this, is they want to improve their English so that they can improve their life, or we say their lot in life, just improve their situation so that they can find a better job. Maybe they can move to a different country and use their English in England, Australia, Ireland, the United States, Canada. Or they can stay in their own home country, your own country, but you can find a better job if you're bilingual and you speak more than one language, especially your language and also English. So I think that's enough rambling for this episode. Rambling means to talk and talk. It probably lasted longer than I anticipated, but I had, I guess, maybe more information than I realized. So I hope you enjoyed that, found that interesting, and maybe learned a few things. And let me know. Drop me a line in the comments and tell me, what do you like about learning English? What are you learning English for? What are your reasons? And how have you benefited? And how has it changed or impacted your life? Well, again, if you like the videos, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell your friends. We'll be bringing more videos for you. Today I'm working on another video that's going to be talking about my experience with racism or discrimination here in the United States. And you're going to see Boba Drawl back again too. So I got a lot of fires or coals in the fire, we say, like just a lot of things working, a lot of things going on that I'll be bringing to you in the future. So thanks for watching. Have a good week, rest of the week, wherever you are, or wherever you may be. And thanks for watching this episode of Learn Everyday English. Hey, we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.